Hello, my name is Zach Roletsky, and I am a secondary math education major here at UConn. The driving question of this focal student presentation is, disengaged or bored? I'm going to explore the cause of disengagement in my focal student. This semester, I have had the opportunity to observe at Sage Park Middle School in Windsor, Connecticut. The school is located right across the street from the public high school, and it's surrounded by residential housing. Sage Park is a public middle school with a diverse group of quality students and teachers alike. The building has lots of murals painted on its brick walls that add life to the hallways, and there is always energy to be found wherever you go in the building. Sage Park is different than the school I went to because I went to a small private school, so the student population was much smaller. My experiences are similar to those of students in this school, though, because I also had a diverse student body around me in my learning. The 7th grade math classroom that I observed my focal student in was similar to what you'd expect in an average classroom. There are many individual desks scattered around the room, and the walls are decorated with student work and colorful posters. This classroom felt very similar to ones I have learned in myself. The metal individual desks were the exact model of ones I believe I had in middle and high school classrooms of my own. Something different, though, was that the amount of student work in this classroom was much more than I used to have in my classrooms. The classroom has many different kinds of decorations. In addition to the student work that I already mentioned that's on the walls, one corner of the room has a colorful word wall with important words the students have learned. The clever decorations all relate to student learning and add life to the classroom. The classroom culture can fluctuate a lot depending on the day. Often, my placement teacher strives to have a very structured class environment that keeps students on task, but the variety of personalities in the class can often lead to chaotic conversations and can derail a lesson entirely off task. When I observe the classroom of my focal student, I believe that it's taught in a very controlling way rather than supporting. The lessons are always aimed to be very structured and don't give students a supportive environment to explore math concepts on their own. They're mostly focused on completing very straightforward tasks. The student I am focusing this presentation around caught my attention because of his lack of attention. I noticed that he did not raise his hand or speak up very often, and during the time where everyone would work individually, he was not writing anything down on his worksheet. A key observation about this student is that he seems very introverted. Being an extrovert myself, I found it difficult to read the signals that the student was sending, since he wasn't using conversation to communicate. I had to be more intentional in my listening to the nonverbal signs that he was communicating. My teacher has confirmed for me that this focal student shows a consistent pattern of being disengaged. He often does not hand in homework or classwork, and does not participate very often in class. She seemed to have a fairly pessimistic view on his participation, but I'm curious to know why it is that he is so disengaged in class. Due to the fact that my focal student has caught my attention because of his lack of work, it's very difficult to find an example of sample work from him. This picture represents what I would expect to find from my student if he were to hand in any work. Unfortunately, it's very uncommon for the student to complete, or sometimes even start practice worksheets. He might fill in his name and finish the first problem, but it's very rare for him to get any further than that. I'm unsure if this is because he is bored by these worksheets, or if it's because he finds the material for the worksheets to be difficult. An idea for how to engage the student more in class would be to alter or vary the method of instruction. I have seen that the student does not seem to be very self-motivated, and this leads to his disengagement in individual work. But I wonder if partner or group work would benefit this focal student. I thought of this possibility when observing that the student engages well with his peers. Seeing him interact with friends in conversation is what sparked this idea that the individual worksheets may be what's holding him back from engaging. It took a creative approach to see this observation as being related to the challenge that I was trying to address. The classroom environment that this focal student is in is honestly a bit crowded. There are about 20 to 25 students in his class, so moving students around is difficult, and it can be easy for a disengaged student to fly under the teacher's radar because of how many students are working all at once and at the same time. I have learned from my observations that I hope to be able to have variety in my lessons when I become a teacher. Creativity is what led to the idea of incorporating group or partner work into my focal student 7th grade math class, and I hope that it will lead to more ideas for differentiated classrooms in my future as I notice students with unique needs. I have also realized through this process how easy it is to be blind as a teacher. With so much going on in a classroom, so many students to teach and keep track of, it's very easy to miss a disengaged student and to miss out on possibilities for changing instruction so that these students can benefit more from my classroom. I'm still curious about how to discover the best methods for encouraging engagement in different students, especially when the student is introverted like my focal student and doesn't share much verbally. I wonder how I can get to know these students personally and learn how to best change my method of instruction or get to know them to encourage them to participate more in the classroom.